Welcome to the Kashmir Notebook with Gowhar Geelani, a special frontline broadcast. In this edition, we have Aga Syed Ruhullah Mehdi, who is Member Parliament and a senior National Conference leader, and previously has been member of Jammu and Kashmir's Legislative Assembly and also a cabinet minister. Welcome to the show, Aga Ruhullah.
Thank you.
So there are a lot of questions doing rounds these days. And let me begin by asking that what you stand for. And when you went before the people during the election campaign, you talked about restoration of Article 370, 35A, and special status. And you constantly talked about dignity, return of dignity, and empowerment to the people of Kashmir. But now your own party, on that important issue of Waqf, for example, your own chief minister was seen strolling with a minister, Kiran Rijiju, on the same day when there was supposedly a discussion on the Waqf issue was to take place inside the assembly. So how do you see this? What is your party doing and what you are saying? There seems to be a lot of contradiction.
I believe in politics of principles. Well, one should believe in life of principles. Politics is a part of it, and politics especially because it's something that concerns the people. That's your relation with the people. It's beyond your individuality. So you can't afford to be you can't afford to run without values. And that's something I believe in. As you asked the question, you should have a set of values, you should have a set of principles. And I believe that if we went through a challenging time, the promises that we made to the people during those trying times and when people were helpless and hopeless, the hope that we generated, the promises that we made, and as a result of which we got a mandate, it's our primary responsibility to reflect that or turn that narrative into substance through these institutions now, which is the government, the assembly. I don't see why there can be a difference between the narrative and the substance and the functioning.
There was a lot of passion involved in the election campaign, and that was one reason. Many people call it political rhetoric, but there was a lot of passion involved in the election campaign, especially when you went to the people, went before the people. And now your own chief minister says on record that, I quote, "I can't pick up the fight that I can't win." And if it took BJP, for example, 90 odd years or 70 odd years to abrogate Article 370, I have the patience to wait for so long to get it back. And I don't expect this party to give it back. So what are your thoughts?
That's where I'm lost and I'm clueless. Because during the elections, we were on the same page. And that's why we went against those political parties who were promising the same things. If it is correct, then how were the other parties wrong during the election when they were saying that we need to have a working relationship with the center? We need to have a good relationship with the BJP in order to get statehood back, in order to set this place right and get a functioning government so that we can fulfill the promises of general routine governance. We went against them because we felt that there's a gap between what people feel and what these political parties represent. And this is a language which comes from Delhi. It's not the language of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We were on the same page. Now I'm lost after the election. We somehow tend to justify that narrative, which we fought against. And we are defeating the reason for which we got the mandate. That's where I feel that this will cause a mistrust and this will cause a betrayal.
You talk about mistrust. Let me come back to this question. Will this mistrust eventually lead to a wider gulf, a wider gap between you and your party?
There's no denying that there was always skepticism about mainstream politics in Kashmir. There's no denying that. Somehow we got an opportunity in disguise during the last election after whatever happened in 2019. That if we take the responsibility and if we stand for the people and for their sentiment, we have that opportunity to build that trust again. and that happened somehow. I mean, willingly or less willingly, I would say unwillingly, less willingly. People came, they extended that hand of trust to you in shape of the vote. So it will be a disastrous mistake if you defeat, if you once again go on a path which brings that sense of betrayal or that mistrust. It will be disastrous. It will be a damage which will not be fixed, or which will be almost impossible to
I want
fix.
to take you back to the past. And the past is, for example, your own party, National Conference, has a history of over 90 years, 93 years.
That is
So it started not as a political party, but as a political movement, right from 1930s as Muslim Conference, which later was rechristened as National Conference. So it fought against the Dogra. And right now the argument being made by your own party is about real politics, that you can't be on the wrong side of Delhi, that you have to maintain a working relationship with Delhi. And in your manifesto, there are those things included in your manifesto, and you know them. I don't need to repeat what is mentioned in, your manifesto. So, did your party not know that the idealistic goals that they had, printed in their manifesto were different from the real politics that they are talking about now?
I thought we believe that it's not idealistic, it's realistic, and it's in the DNA of the party. The party itself came into existence to be on the wrong side of the power that be at that time, and to be on the right side of the people. So these circumstances mirrored those times in a way. It was an autocrat regime those days. Now it was an undemocratically functioning system in Jammu and Kashmir. Times called for National Conference to fall back to its DNA, to be on the wrong side of the power, to be during these days that's the BJP regime in Delhi, and to be on the right side of the people. And that was pragmatic, that was realistic, that was not idealistic, that was the demand of the time, that was the need of the time. And that's why most of us miss when we read the manifesto of National Conference for this last election. It started with the line and a promise that we will struggle for strive for the return of the dignity and rights and authority, through which then we will deliver on such and such and such issues. So our primary objective and primary responsibility was to strive for the return of those guarantees through which we would get the people of Jammu and Kashmir would get the authority to decide for themselves. We cannot forget the commitments that were made to the people of Jammu and Kashmir at the time of accession, the guarantees that were given to us. So that is a realistic politics. And if it was correct, I'll go back to my earlier answer. If this narrative was correct, then people like Altaf Bukhari, Sajjad Loan, and others, they were correct those days. Those who said that we need to have a good relationship with BJP and a functioning relationship with BJP or the government of India.
So you have been always talking about the welfare state, and you've been talking about the federal structure. That's right. And decentralization. So we look at Tamil Nadu as an example, or Karnataka government as an example, or even West Bengal. So these are the three state governments in India, where one, not only did Tamil Nadu pass a resolution against the Waqf Amendment Act 2025, the government also knocked on the doors of India's Supreme Court. And similarly, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and Siddaramaiah in Karnataka, they said they will not let implementation of the Waqf Act in their respective states. So, given the narrative of the National Conference and its own stand on autonomy, and autonomy plank on which it fought many elections, multiple elections in the past as well. So, why did your party fail to allow a discussion inside the assembly on the Waqf Act, citing technical grounds and some calling it subjudice? And two, why did it fail to pass a resolution?
That's shocking for me as well. That's surprising for me as well. That's something the party needs to give the answers, and substantial answers to. It's a question, and these kind of things do add to that sense of I wouldn't say betrayal, but sense of mistrust, and that is building up. So I don't have
You agree with your oath speaker who said the matter is sub judice?
not at all. It's number one. It was not subjudice at that time. I believe it's not subjudice as we talk. Even if it was subjudice, it was not a legislation, it was a resolution. Resolution can come because it's just a mere opinion. It has no implications on the functioning of the government or the judiciary or interference in it. It's just a mere, opinion. The opinions do keep coming from the streets, from the media channels. It could have come from the legislature as well. Legislation has no, constitutional barring or implications. Even if it was sub judice, resolution could be discussed there and passed in the assembly.
You were in Delhi and you were watching the proceedings in the J&K.
Very
How did you feel as a senior national conference leader, as a member parliament, and also as a Kashmiri?
let down.
Linda.
Let down, disappointed. I felt that the strongest voice against this act of the government should have come from the Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, and that's what we got the mandate.
Some of your own members raised slogans inside the assembly, and there was a lot of ruckus, pandemonium inside the assembly. And it seemed like National Conference was protesting against the National Conference. How do you see this? That now, who's in power, who's in opposition? It seems very.
I would want to believe that frustration was genuine. I would be glad if that was genuine. I would want to believe that at least the realization has started to come. And if the speaker or someone didn't allow that to happen, doesn't matter he was from National Conference. The voice from within has started to erupt, and that frustration was for genuine reasons. So I would want to believe that it was genuine and that was real for
Now,
real.
allow me to take you to some other topic, which is India's top spy master, Amarjit Singh Dulat. He has written his fourth book. Previously, in the three books that he has written, and a lot of people and reviewers, argued that it was like a PR for Faruk Abdullah. But in this time around, he has said, apparently in one of the passages, that Faruk Abdullah, in a way, was not against the abrogation of Article 370, and what his only grudge supposedly was, and I'm not taking it for a fact because we have to see the other side also.
Right.
And so the argument is that he wanted that he should have been taken into confidence. Maybe he would have given some better ideas to abrogate it. So how do you see this? There's a lot of discussion in the media space about this.
Well, problem with these things are that then we have to take them seriously on all accounts. We can't pick and choose if they are genuine when they speak on this subject.
There needs to be a genuine, kind of
a response. Yes, it needs to be clarified, and if it has happened, to my knowledge, it didn't happen. I don't know, but if it has happened, so there needs to come a response, and we all need to know why. Because to our knowledge, the no consent, no suggestion, no communication happened between Delhi and the leadership of Jammu and Kashmir for the abrogation of 370. And if any such thing happened, that's not only shocking for the listeners, that's shocking for me as well.
So you wear many hats. You are a politician. You have been a cricket player also, and you also are a prominent Shia leader. You are a religious preacher. So tell me about the pressures that you faced from your own constituency in Central Kashmir's Budgam when you talked about certain issues which were as big as return of statehood, special status, 370 and 35A, dignity. And now, what are you people telling?
At times, they feel that these are exception in terms of suffering, because the representatives of other constituencies talk about the daily routine issues, and they make the relations with the power for the redressal of those issues. I am an exception who is doing politics for a bigger cause, and that is the routine issues of my constituency are taking a toll on that. There is that kind of, I wouldn't say disappointment, but that kind of, sometimes they feel it, that a lot. But I yes, questions like that. But I would
What
at the same.
like? What are the questions like, or what are the grievances like?
I mean, there are many grievances. At times, they say, why do you have to do this? Why can't you act like others?
So what
Let you be safe.
options if, for example, your narrative is not accepted by your own party? You also say there has been sort of I wouldn't say the blocking of communication, but there has been less
communication.
So what do you see? How do you see your future in your own party? And what are your options if they don't abide by, or if they don't go by your narrative?
See, as I said in the beginning, I I would want to follow the principles for the rest of my life, and I have a certain set of values. There will be a time when those values will ask a question, those principles will ask a question, and I hope that that time doesn't come. There's no need for that time. I am still trying for
I
this.
know that, and I know it for a fact that you have been against fragmentation.
Absolutely, I fought against that, and the last election was, I mean, point in case. I was genuinely against fragmentation. I still try to avoid fragmentation that goes against the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and the, I mean, that's not in favor of people of Jammu and Kashmir. But unity is for a purpose. I want that purpose to be served, and I hope I still try. I will try as much as I can to uh, see that this party goes in that direction, and we all collectively fight in that direction.
We'll talk about three more issues one by one specifically. And one of them is that do you also get inspired in this hopelessness, in this state of hopelessness or kind of indifference that you are facing, or what you call disappointment, not betrayal, but a sort of disappointment? That there are people and there are assemblies or there are politicians like, you have M.K. Stalin in Tamil Nadu, or you have people like Mamta Banerjee or Siddharamaiah in Karnataka, that you find these pockets of hope.
They are pockets of hope. They are, I mean, in some ways, they are inspiration for these kind of times, these circumstances. If you remember, we have had interactions before my parliament election, soon after the abrogation of Article 370, when I started speaking. And I have had a couple of interactions with you and many other friends from this fraternity. You asked a question that time. Many other people asked me this question: where do you find that hope that this 370 is going to come back? Is it pragmatic, realistic? I predicted during those interactions that I see some hope in South India. I see some hope in East India. I see some hope in these political parties who will strive for the stronger federal India, a stronger federal structure. They will espouse for more powers, for more securities for their states, and that's what is happening exactly. And last spoken about
More
autonomy,
which the BJP calls separatism.
separatism. So now that the thing I predicted is actually happening, The entire South, and particularly this state, is striving for something that we had.
There is a genuine question in the minds of common people and also people like who seriously think about politics, and they're saying that given the history that Sheikh Mahmudullah was incarcerated for his political stance for 22 years in separate stints. He served 22 years in jail term.
That's right.
And this is the history before the National Conference. And then Faruk Abdullah's government was toppled in 1984 when B.K. Nehru was sent back as governor by late Indira Gandhi. And then Jagmohan was sent, as a governor for Jammu and Kashmir. And then that, Faruk Abdullah's government was toppled. And then you had the exams of 96. Why doesn't your party learn lessons from history?
This is something I told them even after the abrogation of 370. I have had in that public conversation, public gathering, that we should learn from the history or the mistakes. But unfortunately, I don't know what power does to people or organizations.
You differ with your party on the issue of rationalization of reservation. You differ with your party on the stance taken on the Waqf Act. You differ with your party on the return of special status.
Right.
I mean, doesn't future seem bleak?
These differences are, I mean, something that align with the core ideology of the party.
So what is your stance on Waqf?
Waqf is, this act is unconstitutional. This goes against Article 25, 26 of the Constitution, which gives you the freedom and autonomy to run and manage the properties of your religion. It is interference in the matters of religion, or it's taking away or encroachment about the freedom of religion in this country. And many other, I mean, clauses that you will have non-Muslim members who will be the part of the governing body. I cannot do the same thing again about Vishnu Devi Shrine Board or Shri Amarnath Ji. So it's fundamentally against the constitution and the secular
The BJP
structure
is
of.
calling it the reform. They are saying that they this term called Pasmanda Musalman,
I mean,
this Musalman and that
they
Musalman.
have coined this term Pasmanda Musalman. I don't know where does this come from. They want to hide that, I mean, caste system in their religion. With these, yeah, it's in their religion. Our Quran is categoric against any system. We do not have, we cannot have Pasmanda, we cannot have Ashraf. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The best among you is the ones with piety. That's the category. Virtue is a category. There's no caste system. You cannot be categorized on the basis of your birth. So these things are, I mean, designed to, I mean, put a blanket on their or hide their own things and try to create those fake things in Muslims, yeah, divisions and among these things. So this is a fight. It's a continuous fight that they have had uh, since 2014 to this day with the Muslims. They want to disenfranchise the Muslim population and other minorities of the nation. They want to turn them into second-class citizens.
On reservation,
Hmm.
you went and staged a protest outside your own chief minister's residence.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot of social media narrative about rationalization of reservation. So, how do you see this issue resolving anytime soon?
I hope that the 6 months that this government asked and gave that subcommittee, at the end of those 6 months, there's a resolution for this issue, and this issue is not only addressed but resolved. I hope I will not comment for any further on that.
So, National Conference right now is in power.
Hmm.
You have 40 plus MLAs, but is your party in power?
It's not. That's what we should realize.
Who's calling the shots?
The LG is calling the most of the shots, and purposely.
So if you are not calling the shots, why to continue with this such an arrangement? What is that you have been promised to remain silent or obey in advance?
That's a question that they should answer. I don't have an answer for that question because that thing is not, I mean, with me. That is what I and the voters, those who voted this party to the power, expected. Is that we didn't expect this government to do a routine business. And we didn't promise that we'll do a routine business.
You said that the road was tough.
Road was tough, and we'll strive. We'll take this sentiment into the institutions and fight for this sentiment in institutions. Not yet, and that's my, I mean, worry.
So you are a politician who believes in morals, who believes in ethics, who believes in some kind of, dignity in politics. So how do you see?
I didn't realize that.
Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
I didn't realize that these things are not taken, I mean, seriously in politics. As the things are now turning around from all the sides, I mean, I think now the important fight for me and like-minded people should be for a politics of principles and values. There cannot be. It's a tyranny. If you take away principles and values from politics, there has to be a politics of values. And
before we end this conversation, one last small question: do you feel a misfit in your own party right now?
Well, that's
it's a tough question, but yeah,
let me answer.
Your smile answers the question.
Let me answer that question some other day.
So thank you for speaking to the Kashmir Notebook and a Frontline Special Broadcast.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, bro.